Hello YouTube, we're back with another video. You already know what it is, the Footsie's Handbook. We're on chapter 6. We're gonna be talking about some close quarters combat. You know, I don't know why I did any of those punches. Although Footsies primarily occupy mid-range zones, quite a few basic Footsies components can be effective in close quarters too. In fact, having a solid foundation of mid-range Footsies opens up direct gateways into point blank range. Get in there and cause some damage. All right, this is a great chapter because it's very important, especially the higher you get, because some of the things we talk about here will beat very particular defensive habits. Some of these apply quite awkwardly to Street Fighter 6, but they definitely do apply, okay? And I'll talk about that in a second, and we'll talk about why it's a little different. Okay, let's get right into it. Element 16. If your character has a damaging combo starting with crouching light kick, a good way to land it is by taking a step forward after forcing your opponent to block the light attack, or a jump attack, or even after a knockdown. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so you see how Ken just crouch light kicked him, right? What he's gonna do is he's gonna take a step forward. He's not gonna chain it into another light kick or a jab or mash his next jab, whatever. He's gonna leave a pretty big string or a gap by stopping, walking forward, and light kicking again. See that? And he confirmed it very fast into super. What a legend. Let's see that again. Here, crouch light kick, walk forward, crouch light kick, right? One more time. Boom, boom. Cool. Why is that good? We'll talk about it in a second. Let's look at it after a jump attack. All right, this one looks a little awkward because of the camera, but as you see here, right? So watch. Jump in is block. She's not going to continue a full true block. She's going to walk forward a bit, crouch light kick, and confirms off it. Watch this one. Crouch light kick, walks forward. First one. So he did 2 in a row there, actually. You see that? So watch this. He just crouch light kicked him, waits a second, walks forward, does it again. Gets a counter hit. You see that? Counter hit. We'll talk about why that happens so often. He's gonna do the exact same thing again off the jump we talked about last one. Jump attack, blocks the jump, walks forward, dashes even, crouch light kick. Okay, so why is this good? Well, closing the gap carries the additional advantage of enabling you to maintain offensive pressure with longer attack strings. The exact duration of your walk depends on your opponent's habits. If they like mashing buttons during block stun, then time your crouch light kick to stuff their jab startup. Can't really do this in Street Fighter 6, we'll talk about it in a sec, but this part's really big. If they're extremely patient, then you'll need to taunt them by walking forward for quite a while. Okay, so let's take a look at what this looks like in Street Fighter 6. Okay, so the reason this is such a good idea is because there are there's a lot of defensive options you can take when you're on defense, right? One of them is mashing buttons, and I think that's something you probably notice a lot the lower level you are. I mean, it's not that it goes away the higher level, but people like to mix it up more, right? And this will lose to mashing buttons. So if someone just constantly mashes, the second you hit their block, they mash, probably you don't want to do this. But what it does beat, that's very common, especially the higher you go, is if they delay tech, okay? If they walk backwards, which is something very common, we'll see in a sec, and if they are just super patient and they don't do anything. So why does it beat all 3? Well, let's make Jamie do it. So after his jab, I'm gonna delay tech. You see I'm getting counter hit here. I delay tech in case he walk forwards grabs me. But if he does 2 jabs very fast, I'd rather block them. So I'm delay teching here. He's not doing, that time I kind of mash grab. But he's not doing 2 jabs very fast. He's leaving a gap by taking just a little step forward and crouch light kicking me. Now what happens if I walk back after the jab? If you see in one of my older videos, a very good idea on Wake Up is to delay tech and then start walking backwards, right? It's something that covers a lot of options. So let's say I did that. I delay tech here, I block this, I start walking backwards, he hits me. Now, it's very hard to confirm your crouch light kicks, right? But you can also just do something like this if you wanted to. Very similar idea. Just do crouch jab into crouch medium kick. This leaves a huge gap. So if someone is mashing, okay, you will lose. You need to pick up on your opponent's defensive habits. If they just press buttons on defense, don't do this. Do like 3 jabs instead, because those all chain into each other, you'll counter hit them. But if you notice that they're delay teching, they seem to tech everything while also blocking everything, probably means they're delay teching. Or if they're just extremely patient, there's something you could do. One thing, like the higher level you go, is sometimes you'll see someone, they're just so patient on defense that they don't press anything. They're down to take a throw or something, right? So you could literally walk at them for like a second and then do this, in case they start walking back or they delay tech. Especially, most characters can chain their crouch light kicks, right? So let's say I did this, then I did something like that, right? If I caught him with the crouch light kick, I would have comboed that entire string. The reason this is so good, again, quick recap, it beats delay tech, it beats walk back, and it beats, quote unquote, not really, people who are just super patient. You're trying to bait them into doing something by just walking at them. And then even if you get nothing, they block the whole thing, you kind of reset your pressure, you push them a little further into the corner. It's just a win-win. So yeah, very, very good tip. Again, if someone is mashing on defense a lot, or they, they DP a lot, not something you want to go for. This works better against patient players who like to walk back, block a lot, or delay tech. Okay, element 17. One of the dirtiest tricks I've ever seen was Daigo's ST Ryu knocking down Jason Cole's Dalsim, crossing him up with a blocked jump heavy kick, and then walking backward for half an eternity before nailing him with a crouching by medium kick into Hadouken. It connected because Daigo timed the crouching medium kick to coincide with Dalsim's recovery from JHK block stun, so Cole got hit low as he stood up to counter throw. Yeah, so this is pretty much a shimmy, right? We talked about this in a different thing, but the idea here is that you make them block something, you walk back, and if he delays jab or techs or whatever, you hit them with your own move, right? Right here, he makes them block, walks back, crouch medium kicks, which hits Dalsim trying to tech a throw. I mean, he didn't walk back that far, but in Street Fighter 6 you have to walk back way further because throw ranges are huge. But yeah, pretty much just a shimmy. If I'm gonna record Jamie to do it to me, I'm gonna delay tech. He's gonna cross me up. It doesn't have to be a cross up, and he's gonna just walk back because a lot of people delay tech or they mash tech in this situation, right? So you see how I delay tech there? I didn't do it too fast. Even if I mash it, this would have worked, by the way. This is a very common defensive strategy, and that's a very easy way to beat it. Okay, this is another way to punish defensive throw attempts, and it works even in games without throw whiff animation. Of course, this is a variation of the element outlined above, but it's slightly more versatile because some characters don't really have crouch light kick combos. Yeah, again, so you can use your crouch medium kicks instead. It's a very similar option to just, shimmying people. Like, you can do it on wake up, it doesn't have to be after a jump. Very good. Element 18, uppercut that shit. Just like 5 different videos. Let's just open one for now and see. Just raw jump in uppercut. Yeah, let's see. Once you scare your opponent out of pushing buttons at close range, you get to walk forward at will. That's when the real fun begins. But the point of this element here, once you scare your opponent out of pushing buttons at close range, you get to walk forward at will, right? So just like we talked about, if you make someone so scared to block or so scared to press defensive buttons like delay tech or jab, you get to kind of just walk at them. We've talked about this in other videos on my channel where, like, even when you're just playing footsies, it doesn't have to be after a block or jump in or something. Let's say you made someone whiff and you whiff punish them so often, now they're just scared, they're waiting for you to whiff, you just walk up, throw them. It works a lot. Or you just dash at them. When you get people scared to press buttons and you notice they're scared, like, the big idea here is you want to notice it. I mean, you can YOLO it, but when you notice someone is scared to press buttons, start walking at them, start dashing at them, drive rush at them, everyone's favorite mechanic that rewards fundamentals. Just do it because they're scared to press buttons at you, so now you get to take free turns. Pretty simple to understand, right? All right, let's just see the end here. Tactics are more reliable than gimmicks, so build your game plan around tactics. Kind of the whole point of this video series I wanted to release. A lot of people, when they learn fighting games, they kind of learn a few gimmicks here and there. They kind of find these ways to kind of cheat out wins if the opponent doesn't know how to deal with what they're doing. Which is fine. If that's what you like, that's fine. But the higher level you go, you want things that just work on everyone, even if they know the counter. As long as you know that the counter to that, you know what I mean? Like, you get to start playing the interesting rock paper scissors, etc. The ideal definition of a solid tactic is a 50-50 mix-up where both options are equally damaging, equally safe, favorable to your position over the opponents, and designed such that no single defensive maneuver counters both options. There aren't many perfect examples out there, but 3 characters immediately come to mind: ST Vega, Nakoruru, I never played CVS1, and MVC2 Magneto. Conversely, a gimmick works only once because it's a trick designed to counter the opponent's most common reaction without properly accounting for alternatives. Of course, shenanigans have their uses, but only until your opponent realizes that you're bluffing about having anything else to resort to. Yeah, so just like I said, you want things that even if your opponent has an answer, you have an answer to that, not just something that only works because they've never seen it before. It's not bad to have that, but you can't rely on it. Your goal should be to get as close to a fully tactical game plan as possible because that'll actually make your shenanigans considerably more effective as well. That's a good point, right? If you're playing such a solid game, have you ever had this? Maybe even in your game, you play against a cammy specifically. I do this myself. But I'm playing the most grounded base. I'm just walking, blocking, trying to whiff punish. I never jump a single time. All of a sudden, I just do this out of nowhere. Not that it's a gimmick, but it's a complete different, like, because they're so focused on the ground game, I get to get away with that much more often. I don't use hooligan, but someone has done this to me before where they had the most slow gameplay I've ever played, just a bunch of jabs on block, and then all of a sudden, once they did to me, jab, dig. and then they level 3 me and killed you. I'm not making this up. This actually happened to me, okay? Someone did that to me once, and I think Cammy Hooligan is very bad, but I just nowhere in my mind did I assume that person would ever do it, because they were playing so solid until they needed just this one random hooligan grab to kill me, and it worked. Probably won't work again, because now I'd be ready, I would just jab it, but because the idea here is because they played so fundamentally solid, they got to get away with it. And yeah, remember, you don't get in trouble for using shenanigans, you get in trouble for depending on them. That's perfect quote. Pretty much what I was trying to hammer home. It's okay to have these things in your tool set, but when you rely on them, you're gonna start getting hard stuck the higher you climb, because people who play kind of fundamentally the things we've been talking about in this video, they can do that against anyone, even if the opponent knows their options. Where if you have this one gimmick with like Blanca where you do a left right with the Blanca channel, as soon as you play people who start realizing what to do, or they just uppercut it, whatever, you're gonna have a bad time. Anyway, hope you learned something. Next episode will be out soon. I'll try to record it ASAP. Stay beautiful, my friends. Hope you learned. Oh, also like, comment, and all that other, you know. Whoops. See you later.